Hi everyone, and welcome to this Los Angeles Sevens betting preview. Just probably somewhere in the region of 36 hours or so now until the action gets going. We'll hear from the guys who've been studying up all week, and that's a son of a punt. Andrew, Jordan, good to have you back on the show. I see you ready for a big night out in Barcelona.
Yeah, just getting the pre-drinks going, having a couple cold ones, but 100% of our attention is going to be on the sevens. Don't worry.
That's it. I mean, I asked you guys very quickly. We had a quick chat off air, and I said, how's the studying going this week? And you just assumed I was talking about the sevens because that's pretty much all you boys have done.
Yeah, we've been focusing hard on it, and to be honest, as the markets come out, you place your bets, you lose all possible concentration on subjects otherwise. So, I mean, it's been tough since about Wednesday, since the markets came out, and particularly today, we're just trying to see if the markets have moved, what the team news is, and all of that. So it's exciting, but it's not good for our academics, our real academics.
I can imagine. I mean, that's my problem this week at work. I've just been too busy to focus on anything. But I mean, the thing with the sevens is you've got to really be alert to the fact when those markets come out, and not just now before the tournament, but after the first round of matches. And I guess at the end we'll talk about maybe anything you think you might be looking for in that second round. But you've got to be so alert to it, because if you do spot value, it doesn't last long.
Yeah, we were saying earlier, the most of the value comes between rounds when the bookies slowly start coming out, and they have to come out to remain competitive. And as soon as those first bookies come out, there's almost a huge swing as soon as a couple punters have taken their bets. So they're always good to look out on those.
Yeah, that's a fair comment as well, because I mean, at the end of the day now, before the tournament goes, everyone's got a lot of time to study. And yes, I like to think, the likes of yourselves and Sean and that tend to be a little bit shrewder than the bookmakers, but they got a lot of time. But as you say, in between matches, they really don't have much time. Team news is scarce on the ground, that type of thing. But anyway, let's get into the action now. Guys, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to bring up Sean Nicholas's comments. He sent them through. Unfortunately, Ruggerbugger couldn't make it. He's busy moving house. I see he's moved jobs. I don't know. I think things have been going pretty well for him on the punting front there. But let's go through. The first game is New Zealand up again. Well, before we start on that, actually, guys, anything on the outright front that you want to throw in? I know you guys are not big outright punters, but anything that caught your eye?
Yeah, look, so obviously, firstly, I think it's great because this tournament's back to the old format. So we've got two teams from each group going to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. So in saying that, it's taken away that whole confusion, and also it opens up the opportunity for more underdoggy type team, I suppose, to win. But at the moment, based on like the top seeds, New Zealand are meant to meet South Africa in the one semi-final, and Fiji are meant to meet USA. And obviously, there's different routes to get there. But USA are pretty short. I mean, they're at home. They're pretty short. I think they're around 3.5. Fiji are favorites. The Blitzbook are in at third favorites, and then surprisingly, New Zealand are at odds of 5. So as far as a favorite goes, New Zealand at 5 is pretty decent value. They will probably end up playing an Argentina or France that will come second in Pool A. But I mean, it's hard to look past New Zealand, seeing as they've been so dominant. So I mean, New Zealand at 5 is pretty good, and then we also have a few speculative ones.
Yeah, obviously the value is probably New Zealand at 5. It's the smart player, even though they lost a couple players. I know they lost Curry, which is a big loss for them. I think he was DHL Impact player last time in Sydney and even in Hamilton. But they got Ravobo back, and they're not short on players. So I don't mind them losing a couple players. So 5-1's a smart play. But then just for a bit of beer money as Oracle, I don't know who likes to say that, but one of the people on the forum loved to say to chuck a bit of beer money on something, and our beer money goes to Kenya at 66-1. Look, they had a shocking display in Sydney. I think they came last. So it'll be a big comeback. But they've brought in a massive amount of players who are very experienced. And they've got Ireland and Canada in their group, who I think they'll be too physical for. So if they make it out the group and they're in the quarterfinals, I think they'll play USA. And you never know, USA could crumble under home pressure. And then just like that, they're in the semi-final. And if anyone can match Fiji's physicality, it's Kenya. So 66-1. Look, it's not a smart punt, but it's a bit of value.
Yeah, you can't do any damage at that price. And I must say, I've seen it in sevens, where teams have come back from a terrible performance and won. And normally throughout the seven circuit, you normally get 1 or 2 weeks where you do get that big outsider arriving anywhere from sort of 20 to 60 to 1 win it. So Oracle Rugby saying they're underdoggy. He's never heard that before. I must say, I thought I was hearing things when I heard underdoggy. I like that. I think it's going to catch on. The old underdoggy is definitely going to catch on at some point there. So, yeah, interesting one on the outrights there. I must admit, I didn't get a chance to read the post, but right before we came on here, I saw Three-Pete, one of our New Zealand contributors on the forum, popped on, and I could see he basically listed in the New Zealand side, and I gather the crux of his post was, this is a really strong New Zealand side, probably the strongest that we've seen to date. And he, I think, was probably going to allude to the same thing as you guys were, that New Zealand probably ranked the value bet there. But let's move on to the matches. Oh, sorry, guys.
Just one more thing there, actually, now that I've just remembered, something that also seems to stand out is not necessarily an outright winner, but it's a pool winner. And basically, if you look at like the pools, obviously they're clear favorites in Fiji, South Africa, USA, and New Zealand. But in the New Zealand pool, Pool D, you've got New Zealand, England, Wales, and Spain. So, I mean, you have to discard Wales and Spain, unfortunately. I mean, they're nice guys, but they don't add much on the field.
Nice guys finish last.
Exactly. So basically, you've got New Zealand. I've seen around 1.45 or 0.45, sorry, for New Zealand to top the pool. So if you look at a normal match where a favorite is at 0.45 on the board, the cap is usually around 5.5 points. So if you think about it, you're basically betting on New Zealand to beat England, first of all. And even at a cap of -4, -5.5, I'd be all over New Zealand in my head. So for me, at 1.45, New Zealand on the board, either in a single or in an accumulator, I think it's really good value. And that is a brilliant outright bet, in our opinion.
Excellent. Well, guys, we do have in the description box below a link to the Good for the Game newsletter that goes out tomorrow, and also the forum thread. The guys, if I take that down, you'll see their Twitter handle as well, at Son of a Punch. You could follow them on Twitter. And bets will, of course, be streaming through all weekend. Let's get into the action, though. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Sean Nicholas with us, but I'm going to bring up his comments as well so the guys can read them while you chat. And the first game, guys, that we got is New Zealand up against Wales. And I see we got a big handicap here. I'm on WSB at the moment. I see the -37.5 is 8-10.
Yeah, look, this is one that New Zealand have actually covered in the last 2 games against Wales. Look, firstly, Wales are hopeless. We say this every tournament. They're horrific. They've actually made some changes this tournament. They bring in 4 debutants, I think. Maybe the fresh blood will be good, although I can't. Most of them are under 20s. I can't see the under 20s wanting to tackle Joe Ravovo, who's just come back for New Zealand, who's a massive, massive player, and the rest of the Kiwis. In saying that, 38.5 is a massive cap. But look, New Zealand, they've lost a few stars, as Andy alluded to. I think Curry and Baker, but they've got Ravovo and what's his name?
Weber.
And Amanaki Nicole back. So those two, obviously, I mean, it's a like-for-like replacement. It's tough to try and back Wales on the plus. It is a really big cap, though. So personally, I think we're probably going to stay away from it because it's probably going to end something along the lines of 43-5 or maybe 43-0, maybe 38-0. So Andy found Wales to score a try in the match at 9-10. Could potentially be value. Probably not my favorite thing ever. It's a tough game to call first up.
Yeah, it might be one of those games better left alone. Let's go on to England-Spain, because I know that I've seen you guys on Twitter and I haven't had a time to really study up, but I know that you do like something on this game, and I'll stay on WSB, but if you've got any odds anywhere else, that's fine. I see -21.5 England at 19-20 and +21.5 Spain at 8-10.
Yeah, Brent. So England have picked up a number of injuries this series so far. They've got huge names out. The Carpentier's out, along with their best player of the series got injured in Sydney, Ollie Lindsay-Haig, which I see Sean Nicholas has also touched on there. Yeah, he was a game changer. I think he created almost every try they were involved in. And England, look, they have a tough group as well to try and make it out of there. They're looking to top it, so they're going to be resting players for New Zealand. So Dan Norton probably not going to get that much game time. They're just going to get the win and get off the pitch. And yeah, Spain, they play side-to-side rugby. Let's go side-to-side. So Spain can just hold on to the ball for 2 to 3 minutes, maybe sneak 1 or 2 tries, then that +21.5 should win. So yeah, we really like Spain +21.5. And they actually even brought in a new speedster, Alejandro. So yeah, we're hoping that a bit of pace could probably get around one of the two English players, and plus 21.5 is our punt.
Alejandro. So there's Sean agreeing there on the plus 21.5. Just laughing when you talk about the side to side with my mate Brendan O'Connell, good old punting mate of mine, watches us tomorrow. I know he can't watch it live. Brendan, you'll remember your sideways running in soccer. We used to play a soccer game on a Sunday afternoon, and he thought he was great. He used to run up and down the halfway line, dribbling the ball, but he never used to go forward. But anyway, that's just a little personal memory with him. Let's move on to Argentina versus France. And what do you guys make of this one?
Yeah, this is a tight game. Generally, it's blow for blow. France will take it 1 week, Argentina will take it the other week. I mean, it's important to mention that Argentina don't like to lose games big. I think the only game that they've ever lost big in their history was against the Blitzbokke a few weeks ago. I think we advocated the Argentina plus, but besides for that, they don't like to lose big. They also have one of their star players in Vélez back for Argentina, so that's big. Whereas France have lost Lacafia, who's been brilliant for them this season. However, in saying that, both teams have extremely strong squads. They've got set teams, experience, speed. France have a couple of Fijians as well. So look, it's going to be tough to call. But I think in games that are tough, we like to err on the side of the plus. And to be honest, I think Argentina could even win this one. As I said, it generally goes 1-for-1 in the wins. And we saw a video of the Argentinian practice session from this week, and they look like their chip and chases are coming along, and that's how they like to score their tries. They defend like their lives are on the line, and then they chip and chase, and the ball always bounces in their favor. So they take Maradona's football skills there. So I think we're going Argentina plus 5.5. That 1 point difference, just to mention again, is big. So if to people out there listening, if you see plus 4.5, that is quite materially different, because obviously in sevens you can only score mostly with 5s and 2s, tries and conversions, and unlikely to be penalty or drop goals. So a plus 5.5 or better is kind of what you want to take there.
Excellent. Well, Sean Nicholas going there for the plus 5.5. I think he described it as a cracker. So just for those of you who might be tuning in late, these are Sean's comments that he sent because he couldn't make it onto the show. Fiji against South Korea. South Korea, these guys played sevens before.
Yeah, South Korea, we actually had to do a lot of deep Google searching. I think we were about on the 8th page until we finally found some results. But no, jokes aside, they actually can throw the pigskin around. They won the Asian Qualifier Olympics, beating Hong Kong. They're actually on a bad side. But obviously, Fiji are ruthless. First game up, they're going to have all the stamina in the world. And because Argentina and France are in this pool, Fiji are going to be going after points difference. So they're definitely going to be try hungry. But it is a huge cap. I think 51.5 is the current cap. I think I've even seen 52.5 somewhere. So I think we actually agree with Sean here on no bet. I can't take myself to take a minus 52. It requires a ridiculous amount of tries. It's almost 8 tries, a couple of conversions thrown in there as well. So yeah, if we had to force a bet, we would think under 56.5 points in the match, but no strong interest there.
And I popped onto World Sports Betting, and yes, it's 51.5 points. But the outright betting, I've never actually seen a team at 1 to 10,000 before. So if you put 10,000 Rand on Fiji, you can show a return of 1 Rand profit. That's how big of favorites are. I can't recall ever seeing a handicap this big in a sevens game. And yeah, because it's such an untested handicap. Although I've got to tell you guys, Oracle, who's no doubt having a couple of quiet drinks while he watches the show, he says Fiji minus all the way. I mean, let's work this out. How many tries? Okay, you got to assume they're going to score most of them under the posts. So what, they got to get like 10 tries?
9 tries and 6 conversions in order to. Sorry, 8 tries, and in terms of the handicap, it's 8 tries and 6 conversions to beat a 51 handicap. But the points line, because technically for me, the handicap and the points line are one of the same. I don't see South Korea scoring. So technically, if you like the plus, I would rather go under 56.5 points because that requires more Fiji tries. And if you like minus, I would obviously take minus 51 with Fiji. However, Andy spent the whole of Tuesday on YouTube watching South Korea's sevens practices and diet plans and stuff. So he knows all about them. So I mean, that's what he's been doing when he's supposed to be working.
Excellent. I can see the marks dropping this semester, that's for sure. That certainly is a big cap. Oracle on the minus there. But yeah, and I have to apologize for my maths, thinking that you needed 10 tries. You would only need one conversion then to beat the handicap. Top stuff. You can see I've done a couple of shows tonight already. Ireland up against Japan.
Maybe.
Sorry, guys?
If it was Kenya kicking, then you might need 10 tries.
Yes, yeah, then you might need to. Having a look at Ireland against Canada, and the Sean's comment here, he reckons Ireland can win the game at 22-10. There's a bit of plus 6.5, and he's backing Ireland to win the game. So he really likes the plus 6.5. Are you guys aligned on this one?
Yeah, look, we definitely aligned. Again, it's one of those games similar to France-Argentina that kind of goes blow for blow. Look, it's notable that Canada have one of their speedsters and X factors and Justin Douglas back. But in saying that, Ireland have been moving from strength to strength, and they've kept a pretty stable squad, and they've had two guys in the top 3 DHL impact players. I think Jordan Conroy and
Tyrone Kennedy.
Yeah,
number 1 actually.
Yeah, Kennedy's number 1. So look, they definitely a force to be reckoned with, and I think it could be Ireland's turn here. It's again a tight game, but a plus 6.5 in a tight game. You've got to fancy the team on the plus. Also, Ireland do have some speed to burn with Jordan Conroy. He loves a try. He scored 5 in one match in Hamilton, I think. So yeah, we followed Sean Nicholas there with Ireland plus 6.5, and we've also had a little nibble at Ireland on the board.
Excellent. Let's move on to South Africa against Kenya. And what's the handicap here? 12.5 plus 12.5 Kenya?
Yeah, it's plus 12.5 for Kenya. And yeah, Flip, the bookies must have this cap accurate because I think it's the 4th time they've met this series. So they played them every time in the group stages. So the bookies have got the stats to look at. But yeah, we still think plus 12.5 is too many. As we touched on earlier, Kenya have big names back. Just have to look at the sheet because I've forgotten most of them. Oh, but they have Leach back. And then they obviously still have the power of Injera and Willie the Kid and Baka. It's going to be hard stopping the physicality of Kenya. So we're on the same page there with the plus 12.5. But a bet that we probably like a bit more in this game is over 35.5 points. I mean, it only requires 6 tries and 3 conversions, which is pretty standard in sevens. You normally have 3 tries a half. And yeah, the Blitzbooker, I think it's probably a little bit safer because it covers Blitzbooker running away with it. But yeah, that's probably our favorite bet in this game, the over 35.5 points.
Just
did see that on Twitter, I guess.
There is obviously Blitzbooker with their rotation policy. They lost Geduld, who's been one of their star players for the Blitzbooker this series. And obviously they still have out-and-out speed of Kurtley Orense and Angelo Davids and a few others, but he's quite a big loss for them. And also he's a mean tackler as well. And obviously the Kenyans bring that physical presence. But yeah, Kenya look pretty psyched for the game. And we think that plus 12.5 should be good.
Neil, agreeing with you there. Kenya plus 12.5. Oracle taking a one step forward further as he tends to. And he goes, Kenya can win on the board. And he reckons under SA points as well. Let's move on to Australia against Scotland. Now, this is Sean's comments. He's saying this is really a no bet for him generally. Is this fixture is his kryptonite? But no, as soon as he typed that, but he says, but hold on a second. He reckons Scotland are the value here. Plus 17.5 is a great price.
Yeah, so I've got to agree with Sean there. Obviously with Farndale back, who brings their experience, he brings their bulk, their strength out on the wing or prop. That's kind of where they play. They're between prop and wing. He's a massive player coming back for them. They do lose their one speedster, Femi Sefalarin, something like that, which is a bit of a loss for them. But they've been playing really good rugby, and I mean they've covered that this plus 17.5 cap every game but 2 of the series. Obviously, it's not necessarily a like-for-like comparison because they've played against some weaker teams, some stronger teams. But Australia also have some big speed on their side, and they're a dangerous side. So you don't really know what you're going to get. I would say though that plus 17.5 is too big, and it's not up there in our best bets. But if I had to pick a side, I'd be on the plus 17.5.
Yeah, I think the tactic which we agreed on as well, like obviously we're having to pick a side here, we go plus 17.5. But I think our tactic here is just going to be weights in play and maybe get on a bigger Scotland plus, maybe a plus 22, plus 23.5 after Australia score the first try. Because flips, Australia looks so dangerous. They obviously had their two speedsters with Trey Williams, who's yet to perform. Undoubtedly, the biggest names is the biggest flop, but he sort of has to perform soon. They've also got Rod Davies back, which is just raw pace. So if Louis Holland and Maurice Longbottom can release the pace, it could be a huge scoreline. So that's why it's not one of our favorite bets. If Scotland manage to stick around, then obviously it's good, but you just never know with that Australian team because they just do have the X factor.
Does sound like that could be a game to avoid. And then let's go on. Sean didn't comment on this one, but USA up against Samoa. USA are second favourites in the outright betting markets, and it's minus 16.5.
Yeah, 16.5. This was also the same tactic as before. We were going to try weight in play and maybe jump on a plus 23.5. Because Samoa, look, if you look at their past results against Argentina and France and Sydney, I think they lost by 7 points each. And then on day 2, they went and got absolutely thumped by USA or someone else. So you just never know which Samoan team's going to turn up. I mean, on paper, they have a very solid side with Upper Masanga and Lee Lua back. So if they can definitely pass the ball around, and 17.5 is very high, and I think USA are overrated because it's their home tournament. But in saying that, you do have Perry Baker and Colin Isles fighting for their 200th try each. So there's no doubt USA could be 5 meters behind their dead ball line, and Perry Baker's still going to try to score in the corner to try to put Colin Isles for that 200th try. So they're going to be after points for sure and to impress the home crowd. At the original cap, it's probably no bet and something we're going to look to get involved in play.
Another thing, sorry, just to add there, the points line's about 39.5 points. And obviously, as Andy said, with Perry and Carlin competing for the 200th try, and they always like to compete against each other. Also, USA being at home and the weather being good in LA on Saturday. And I know that the turf, some sort of nice, I don't know, artificial turf that Andy was going on about. Look, over 39.5 points could definitely be a play here. Also, USA have Madison Hughes back, who had a niggle in Sydney, so didn't play. So that's big for them. They're still missing Falau Niua, but they're almost back to their full strength. Oracle, I don't think I can agree with you on USA for the cup there, but potentially them on the minus, something maybe over 39.5 points, that could be an interesting play.
Right, and that brings us to the end of the first round of matches. So a couple of things I just want to run through with you guys quickly. First of all, your best bet then of the round?
Well, I know Sean's best bet, just to mention, Sean's is Kenya plus 12.5 against South Africa. However, he did, I had an extensive phone call with him this morning. We both agreed that it's a really tough first round to call. There's nothing stand out. The bookies have had time to research and come up with these caps. And to be honest, when Andy and I capped these games earlier in the week, we really weren't far off from the bookies. So it's not like anything really stood out to us that was a must get on now. And we're gonna say, obviously, if you're following our Twitter or whatever, just the value will really probably come between the first round and the second round and the second round and the third round when the bookies are rushed to get markets out. So that's when I would say the real best bets will come out. But I suppose for us, we do have to pick. Probably between two. Should we ask? We'll bring back the genie card.
Let's see what the genie says.
What does the genie have to say? What is the genie saying?
Yeah, for me, I think it's a toss-up between the Ireland plus and the Argentina plus. We think they both could win the game, so getting them on the plus is obviously just awesome to have that try buffer. It's really hard to choose between the two. Probably Ireland for me. I don't know about Jordan.
Yeah, probably Ireland as well. France are strong. Yeah, Ireland. Let's go with Ireland.
Right, that's it. I can hear you guys, and it happened. It happens often with the sevens, like we said. You're not always that confident in the first round. So the last thing you want to do is go firing into bets when you're not strong on it. Rather wait for those. Even if the bookies are pretty sharp, they're going to make 3 or 4 mistakes over the course of the tournament, and that's when you've got to be ready to pounce. So, guys, thanks very much. I think just in closing, anything you fancy outside of the sevens this weekend that you want to raise?
I liked Edinburgh minus I mean, I took it at minus 10.5 earlier in the week. They're playing Cardiff Blues at home tomorrow night in the Pro 14. They got a few Scotsmen back, and they're devastating at home. They're top of the log. Cardiff aren't great. Josh Adams, who's the Welsh winger, got injured in that epic Six Nations game. So yeah, I mean, I like Edinburgh at home in pretty decent conditions on this synthetic pitch to do the job against Cardiff.
Yeah, I think the conductor also liked that on the last show. So it's you guys seem to be aligned there.
Yeah, I also like that bet. Just looking at the Premiership, it is going to be a bit of a biased play from my side because Northampton Saints have just done so many good things for me this season already. They've beaten almost most caps that I've got on. And yeah, they're playing against Saracens at home. And the big game changer, which I think could make them bounce back from their last 3 shitty results, I think, they have Dan Bigger back at 10. And obviously he can make or break a game. And it's just a pivotal player that they really need to start performing well again. I think I got them earlier at minus 2.5. I see now on Bet365 they're minus 5.5, which is probably 1 point too many, but I still like minus 5.5. Saracens got beaten by the Wasps 60-10 last weekend. So if they put any other performance like that, I'm sure Northampton Saints are targeting a bonus point win here as well. So they dropped down the log with their 3 losses on the trot. So yeah, that's also a better like in the Premiership.
Excellent. Yeah, please don't you mentioned Bigger because I was on France outright last week and I thought France were excellent, but I thought Dan Bigger was absolutely superb for Wales as well. I mean, that guy's an incredible player. He's not afraid to put his body on the line, and he really is top class. I must say, just a comment, I think the bookies won't be happy to hear that you and Sean are starting to talk on the phone and stuff now before games. That's certainly not something they want to hear because I'm sure a lot of bookies still licking their wounds after the last tournament. But guys, it's been great having you on the show. Look forward to following you on Twitter. And I know you do pop onto the Good for the Game forum normally after each round just to share a couple of views as well. So we really appreciate that. And enjoy tonight. And, I see you having your pre-drinks and go out and have a good time and then get ready to focus on the rugger.
100%.
Cheers,
thanks for having us, Brent.
Excellent. Thanks. I see we had quite a lot of live viewers. Not that many commenting. Oracle Rugby is no doubt having a couple of pints. He's given his shares. It's Oracle, thanks very much for that. And to Neil as well. Thanks, everyone. If you are new to our channel, do go down and hit the subscribe button. We'll catch you on the Good for the Game forum and on Twitter over the weekend.